Good afternoon. Welcome to The Family with Saul Jackson
and
Jessica Jackson. We're here for this Year's In podcast. And quite frankly, we didn't even know we would be here together recording this podcast.
Yeah, we are, so let's get on with it.
But we are, so we will get on with it, as my wife says.
So we're here today to talk about the Christmas holiday and the history behind the Christmas holiday.
Wow, the history behind the Christmas holiday, which is a holy day that is supposed to be talking about Christ.
It is.
Instead of Santa Claus?
It is, but let's get down to the history. The first Christmas ever celebrated as a denoted federal holiday was in 1870.
1870. The feds made it a federal holiday across the whole state? The whole country?
Across the whole country, yes.
The whole country is supposed to celebrate this holy day.
And it is also closely related to the Scandinavian holiday Norse, celebrated Yule on December 21st, which denotes the winter solstice, and in which the people will feast in front of a burning log, which will take up to 12 days to burn, and the Norse believe that each spark that comes from the fire will be a new pig or calf born during the upcoming year.
What? I mean, I hear all that, and that all sounds good and all sounds very festive, but me personally, I don't subscribe, because how I see that is just another mechanism for paganism.
Yes, speaking of which, it is also related to the holiday of Santeria.
The Santeria? Santarilla.
Yes.
Not the Santa Marta.
Yeah.
What?
La.
Santarilla.
Which is celebrated in Rome. And this holiday honors Saturn, the god of agriculture.
Ah, Saturn, huh?
In the beginning weeks leading up to the winter solstice, continuing for a full moon, Santarilla was the heroine of the time when food and drink was plentiful, and Rome's socialites for the whole month would honor their slaves and pass out food amongst the peasants of the city.
What? The Santarilla passed out food amongst their slaves?
And the peasants of the city for up to a month.
Wow. Even the so-called Christians didn't even do that back in the great slave trade.
I guess not.
I guess not. I guess not indeed.
And we will ask the question that begs to differ. Was Jesus really born on Christmas Day?
Wow. That's the topic for nearly another day. But since we are in the Christmas time, I guess it's a topic for today.
It is.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know really what day he was actually born on. And to tell you the truth, I guess only God, Mary, and maybe Joseph knows what actually day he was born on. So the rest of it is all speculations at this point.
Right, you are correct. Unfortunately, the Bible does not mention the actual date of Jesus' birth.
It sure doesn't. I've read that thing through and through almost 20, 30 times.
Although some evidence suggests that his birth may have occurred in the spring, because why would shepherds be herding in the middle of winter? They wouldn't.
Well, I beg to differ on that, because sheep need to eat all the time, so they're going to need to eat the summer or the winter time.
They wouldn't travel that far in the winter. Pope Julius I chose December 25th, and it is commonly believed that the church chose this date in effort to adopt and absorb the traditions of the pagans' Santarilla festival, first calling it the Feast of the Nativity. Then the custom spread through Egypt in 432 and England by the end of the 6th century. By the end of the 8th century, the Christmas celebration had spread to Scandinavia. Go ahead.
That sounds all good and well, but I can almost guarantee you that there was no food at Jesus' nativity. When he was born, nobody brought him no food. They brought him frankincense, gold, and myrrh. And you don't even see nobody sharing a slice of bread with him. So, I don't know where they said they got together and had this feast when Jesus was born. When, according to popular belief, he was born in a manger because there wasn't no room at the inn. What? He can't have a feast because he wasn't even in a hotel to have access to the banquet rooms to have this party.
Did you know about the Christmas that was canceled?
These people canceling Christmas all the time, to tell you the truth about it. They canceling Christmas every time they support Santa Claus over Christ Mass.
Right. But in the early 17th century, a religious wave took Europe. Oliver Cromwell and his Puritans in England in 1645 vowed that England would be a dedicated effort, and they decided to cancel Christmas in opposition and supporting of England during the war.
Well, let me ask you a question. Where are you getting this information from?
It's all readily available.
All readily available on where? Where are you citing this information?
From the World Wide Web.
The www?
Yeah.
Well, that's good and all, I guess. Considering that most of these people who put stuff on the www may have done some research and done some findings and brought these conclusions together. But every year they cancel Christmas, every year. For one, just here in America, many people don't even celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Hanukkah. They celebrate Kwanzaa. They celebrate the Yuletide log. And our culture here is really diverse in America, to where there's a lot of mixed families, to where, you know, a lot of different cultures intermingling in one place gives a wide, robust range of different practices, if you will. And we just scratching the surface on what I would consider mediocre good practice to the pagan practices of things like winter solstice, where they put forth sacrifices and whatnot.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, it was because all these different people from different backgrounds were commingling that the adoption of the Christmas holiday during the time right after the winter solstice, you know, was to embrace and rid the current population of them celebrating pagan holidays and making their sacrifices.
Would you say it worked? I mean, would you personally, Jessica, would you say that this worked over? See, we're now in 2019. And if,
so about 150 years since
about
it was
150
actually
years
adopted
ago,
as
right?
a federal holiday.
Right. Do you think it squashed out all the other paganism and all the other practices like Wicca and the Santa Marta or any of the other ones? I mean, you still even got people practicing other rites and rituals too.
Correct, but I believe the purpose was, of course, to try to eradicate the different pagan practices and move more people towards the church, which, in respects to actual numbers of the people practicing the pagan religion back then and people practicing the pagan religion now, I believe it's greatly decreased. And it's more along the lines of everybody celebrates Christmas, although some cultural backgrounds have different takes on it, just depending on where the people originated. So I believe it worked to some extent, yes. But in that extent of working, I think the pagan holidays, actually married into the Christmas holidays, such as with the tree and whatnot.
There is so many more pagan holidays that people are unaware about, but that is definitely celebrated in America because, for one, there is, hey, let me be the first to let you know, I don't have a problem with the people who celebrate Wicca, but they have their own holiday system, and they have their own practices, and some of their practices and some of their rituals line up in accordance with the practice of any Judeo-Christian set to this very day. And I think that is extremely dangerous. What do you think?
I do, because a lot of people are unaware of the spirits they're calling forth within their celebration of mingled holidays.
I think they also are unaware about the different prophecies that they are also self-fulfilling when such things are practiced. When such things are practiced in that arena, it's like you are fulfilling the prophecy on certain things. And even in Wicca, some of that stuff is really practiced in the rites. But enough about the Wiccas, because their belief is do no harm, and there be no harm. What I'm really talking about, which are the dangerous ones, are basically the ones of the elites, when they're practicing just right out Satanism. That's when it can be very dangerous, because you got all these holidays commingling, and you are mixing holy days with devil days, basically. And this is where the world is at, whether they want to accept it or not. You got the spiritual elements commingling, and one can't readily tell if it's basic yin and yang or if it's just chaos. What is your take on it, Jessica?
I wouldn't go as far as to say it would be either to the extreme. I think my previous statement holds.
Your previous statement holds that it's done some good, that the reconstruction of said people's done some good to alleviate the paganism that is indwelling in basic all mankind?
Correct.
All right. I mean, hey, I can agree. I mean, I'm sure if people were able to practice full Satanism, the world would be in definitely a worse place. I'm just keeping it real. So there is some sort of balance, and I do think it's a straight yin and yang balance, to where the light and the dark is really balancing out in the end of this 2019. Now, what you could get in 2020 is an even balance of yin and yang through that whole next decade, because everybody will have that balance of light and dark. I mean, I know I got light and dark. I'm not going to lie to y'all and tell you all this other BS about, oh, how good I am and all this other nonsense, because I ain't no good sometimes. So, it is what it is. I'm going to just keep it real. and tell you that, hey, everything is not peaches and cream. And you can see that with all the conquest that was made over the thousands of years, with all throughout all those centuries, and here we are now in 2019, and I really think we just dealing with the aftermath of that, which makes me think of that that rapper Ice Cube, you got to deal with the aftermath, it's like you plant a seed and then you watch it grow. If someone is doing rituals, basically they do the ritual and then they wait and see what happens afterwards. Now sometimes I think they do many rituals and they don't really have the patience to wait and see how it manifests. But that's a whole topic for a whole nother day. We're talking about Christmas. And in the Christmas season, the manifestation was Christ, which is the Son of God. So when you think of manifestations, you got to also think of all the rituals that went before it that did that manifestation. You got to think about all the sacrificial ceremonies that the Judeo-Christians practice, all the practices that the Jews and the Israelites practice, and you get that real good heritage behind that, and then from where your power dwells. What's your take on it?
My take on the whole thing is the Christmas holidays are riddled with old traditions and vestiges that need to be thoroughly researched, I think, before people actually just go into the practice not knowing what they're practicing and what they're calling forth, because the people that used to practice some of these things, they did these customs and had a riddling of different beliefs that went along with them that still carry power to this day when people try to call forth the same spirits and practice them, the traditions, and ignorance.
That all is true, but it makes me think about the spirit of Christmas and how the spirit of Christmas, many people sense it and many people can feel it, and there are many people who just can't feel it and many people who just can't sense it. But the real question is, I think, is what really is this spirit of Christmas? Who is this spirit of Christmas? And these are the real things that one must reflect on is when you're in contact with spirits and you calling forth the Holy Spirit, the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Jesus, or any other spirit you want to call forth, you really got to be aware of what is this spirit and who is this spirit coming from. And I consider this on a day-to-day basis because there's spirits running around this place all day and every day. This is a wonderful earth we live in, and it may seem real natural, but it is very spiritual. And you really have to realize that in your everyday life. That's why St. Paul said it is easier to live in the spirit than it is to live in the flesh. Because when you live in the spirit, you can see the different spiritual dynamics that go unseen from moment to moment. And it's really from moment to moment versus from day to day. It's really from moment to moment. The energies of the spirit is really moment to moment. It's like seconds. It can happen. It happens throughout every second because in some ways the universe is kind of driven that way by all of us being in this one universe, having our own little worlds going on at the same time in this one planet. It's 7 worlds, 1 planet. There's a documentary about this on the BBC. Actually, it's pretty nice. It's about these just different aspects of different parts of the world. Each continent, how all the continents are spread apart, and how different continents have their own essence, if you will.
But yet, how they all came from one.
And yet, how they all came from one. I was getting there.
Which is a great dichotomy of the spiritual realm.
Which is a good dichotomy of the spiritual realm. Yet and still, the parallels of just that line, 7 worlds, 1 planet, is really, it holds more true in the spirit world. Because in the spirit world, it is like 7 different spiritual worlds that you can jump in and out of and be well with your own reality. And I think that Christmas and different holy days is a great setup for stepping into that spiritual realm. Because the veil of the day is very thin. Which is to say, the day is already hollowed out throughout time. It's already like these. It's nothing we can do or nothing that we can't do to get to be outside of those senses of holy days, because we're all on one planet. So whether one person celebrate Hanukkah, the next person celebrate Christmas, what you're going to really find is both of those sets or religions or practices intersect with each other, and you're basically practicing the same thing, which is a basic old ancient practice of ether manipulation. I mean, you're becoming yourself. This is the same thing that the pharaohs practiced in ancient times. It's the basic same thing, the same principle. And this is why they were so inept in getting in and out of different spiritual realities. So I'm all for Egyptology because it's really the root of heritage and culture, because of the originating of the land masses. It's the center land mass. If all the continents were together, it would be right in the center. You got any ideas, Jessica?
No, you've kind of digressed into like a different subject. So
well, it's my podcast.
Correct. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm just stepping back on this.
You stepping back on this one? Well, sometimes people got to step back on things. I'm just spitting off the cuff. I'm just saying that practicing things without the understanding of those things can be real dangerous, because you really don't know what you're really practicing. All this stuff has been well intermingled, and during this Christmas season, I think that it's being greatly unraveled because of a great sense of awareness amongst a great amount of people. Oh, it looks like I just got an email. My baby's over here playing Tetris, which is, oh no, little boxes. You know, it's a game with numbers, and you just move these little boxes around, made of ticky-tackies, and they all look just the same. So, just like the freaking song says, there are green ones, there are red ones. It's from that show, Weeds, that came on back in like 2011 with that dude from 40-Year-Old Version, which is a pretty funny actor actually. He also is in that new show, A Million Little Things, which is a very good show. Me and my baby, we've been watching that show, A Million Little Things, you know. I don't know if anybody else out there in the audience is a Million Little Things watcher, but hey, I can't tell you what time it comes on. I don't know. I stream it. But it's on TV. You know what day it come on TV, babe?
I believe it's on Sundays on ABC. I have no idea. Check your local listings.
Sundays on ABC. Check your local listings. A Million Little Things. And if anybody from A Million Little Things is listening to this podcast, I will be able to do more commercials for you if you want. Just contact me on my email address or contact me on the podcast. So yeah, it's Christmas time, everybody. The time of joy and cheer. It's time to ring in the new year. It's going to be 2020. I hope everybody has a splendid year. And we keep learning everything. And we keep doing good, the best we can. And, you know, it's going to be a great year. I'm having a cup of tea right now. Got this old Tension Tamer tea and Zen. Yeah, I rocks those teas. I drink that coffee too, but you know, that Tension Tamer, you know, I be having my muscles be all tight. That Tension Tamer just be like, boom, it just get it. And it'd be alright. Y'all should try that. You can get that at your local grocery store. I'll recommend that to anybody.
It's by Celestial Seasonings.
It's by Celestial Seasonings. Tash or Hash don't have that. The other one, I can't remember.
It's called Stash.
Oh, Stash. My bad. All I saw was Hash on that one.
And which proves sometimes you only see what you want.
That's right. So, you know, yeah, that Tension Tamer tea is real good. It really helps your muscles, helps them relax, and takes out all the tension. And I recommend you have a cup of that every day. And it'd be real good for you. I'm supposed to drink it every day. If I drink it every day, it'll be much better. I used to drink it every day, but, you know, sometimes I don't have tea and, you know, this, that, and the other, so I don't have it. Oh, well. But, yeah, I've been rocking this Zen tea, too, because it's real robust, but has a smooth flavor, you know. And just, you know.
Tezo.
By who?
Tezo.
Tezo? Yes, Tezo. See, I'll mix them up. I don't really have no particular one that, you know, I'm going to like. It's just, one could be by Tezo, one could be by Celestial, whatever, I forget.
Celestial Seasonings.
Celestial Seasonings. And the other one could be by Stash or Lipton. Old school. I got a big up to Lipton out there. My parents still make Lipton tea. And I keep telling them that Lipton tea probably haven't been real tea for a long time.
So not a shout out to Lipton.
Hey, Lipton can take it how they want it. It's basically advertising how they say it. Every time you say their name, they're going to be like, oh, that's a plug for us. But we're not working for Lipton, nor Stash, nor Tazo, nor Celestial Seasonings, nor anybody else brand unless they sending me a check. And as of right now, they have not. So I still recommend that Tension Tamer tea for your body and your health and your mind and for relaxation. Because it's a good tea. Good tea right there. What you playing right now? What's this game called?
It's the same thing that you call Ticky-Tacky Little Boxes, which is not the name of the game.
What is the name of the game?
It is called Squares.
Squares. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they're definitely called squares. I like to see people playing these little games on their phone because they really be looking at it. And you be on the train or you be, walking down the street and they be playing, Bejeweled and the Candy Crushes and the boxes here. Baby like the texture. She had freaking Mario on here. And then she had Sonic. She took Sonic off. I don't know why. Sonic got
I didn't
that.
take Sonic off.
Sonic is on the phone still?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. She got the Sonic on there still, so that's cool. And, I like Sonic. I think I'm going to go see that movie. That movie looked tight.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
And it got freaking Jim Carrey in it. Most people don't think Jim Carrey is funny, but I think he's funny. I like Jim Carrey in The Mask. He was pretty good, even in The Pet Detective. He was that was real comedy. And then you think about his old stuff from In Living Color.
I don't know how we got to Jim Carrey, but okay.
We got to Jim Carrey by Christmas. Jim Carrey is a famous Christmas actor. He's been in a lot of Christmas movies too.
As long as you can link it in.
I can link anything.
We could probably draw this to a close about now.
Nah, it's gotta be like 40 minutes. Yeah, to make a really good podcast. It's gotta be a really good podcast. Be like 40 minutes. Give people something to listen to. They can listen to us. I guess talk. My baby like to talk smack to me. But she's not talking smack right now, which is something. But maybe that's for the next episode. I'm okay with that too. I'm just making podcasts, I wanted to make it last week, but this is the first time I can get my baby to talk on the podcast. So, she said she was going to record it on Christmas, but we didn't actually get it recorded because we were doing other things. And we just didn't get it done. And I'm trying next year to get this done once a week. At least once a week, with or without Jessica being the co-anchor. Because she's like the co-anchor of the show, unless I have another co-star or co-anchor. I may have some of my family and friends on, like I said in the beginning of the podcast. Think about having my best friend on. We've been friends for a long time. He ain't got good sense, so I'm gonna have to warn you before he even get on this freaking podcast. He's still living in Brooklyn. He's still living in the hood. Hey, I'm gonna let your imagination run on that, but I'm just saying, he a piece of work,
And the man ain't always got good sense.
And, he ain't always got good sense. But maybe he'll put on some good sense, once he know this podcast go out to millions of people. Or maybe not. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be basically raw, rough, uncut, unedited. Because, quite frankly,
that's David.
It's David, and it's a lot of work to cut these clips up and to figure out what you don't want on the podcast and what you do want it. I say keep it real. Let it all be on there. Let's let it all hang out. Let it all be rough and raw. Let it all be this real. And see where it goes. Who knows? I know me and Dave, we may get in an argument on the phone because he ain't got good sense. And, or he may get in an argument with me saying I ain't got good sense. And it is what it is. We've been doing that for 25 or more years. So, it's going to be alright. But today is a nice day. We're about to go downtown. and do this job and chillax. And, it's a Christmas holiday. We off. We don't have to go back to work until Monday. I could have recorded this podcast any day last week any day this week because we were off the whole week. But it's Saturday, and I usually try to get a recording in on Saturday. That's what I said at the beginning, so it's Saturday. So I guess 3 out of 8 ain't bad. Actually, it is. I'm just keeping it real. So maybe next year I get those every Saturday podcasts in. It depends on if I'm working or not. Most of the time I'll be working on Saturday, so it's like, take out 30 minutes of the day to make a 40-minute show. It depends on how I feel. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and share this podcast with your friends if you want or not. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm just recording it because I said I would, and now that's what I'm doing. So I hope all y'all have a good holiday season and a good new year, and see you in 2020. Peace out. Peace in the Middle East, rain in Spain. I'm out.